Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how common is ghostwriting. Understanding the power of ghostwriting can help you make the most of your time and learn some great productivity hacks. By the end of this video, you will learn how prevalent ghostwriting is, the most curious thing I've ghostwritten. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free gift. Let's dive in. Ghostwriting is everywhere. It's in more places than you think it is. Books are ghostwritten, songs are ghostwritten, speeches are ghostwritten. If you interact with a celebrity on social media, you probably are dealing with a ghostwriter. It's common to see articles and books ghostwritten because the people that are credited as the author typically don't have the time to devote to writing a book or article. It makes sense for them to collaborate with somebody to help them bring their article or book forward. It's funny, there's often a stigma around ghostwriting, especially surrounding books. And it's fascinating to me. You know, if you go to a movie and you watch the credits at the end of the movie, look at how many people are involved in the production process. Dozens and dozens, hundreds of people. Their names are listed there. But with a book, it's expected you're supposed to write it all by yourself. It can be such a collaborative process to work with a ghostwriter to bring a book forward. Typically, when you think, how did somebody have time to do this? Whether it's a book or something else, it typically means that they were working with a ghostwriter. Celebrities come out with books all the time. And it's so easy to think, how did they have the time? How did they make the time in their schedule amid filming, amid family, amid everything else to write a book? And they probably didn't. They worked with a ghostwriter just like me to help bring their book forward. They interacted with them, they talked to them, they talked through their stories, they figured out the best way to structure it, and someone else helped them bring that book forward. If you go to any bookstore today and pick up a popular book by somebody who is famous, a celebrity, a thought leader, a CEO, flip to the acknowledgments page or the special thanks page. Typically, they'll thank a number of people. And those are really the people hiding behind the scenes who are doing a lot of that work. You could have agents, you could have book editors, writers, collaborators, helpers. It's interesting seeing all the creative ways that book ghostwriters are credited for a project. A lot of times somebody will write that special thanks to this person for helping me bring my thoughts together, for helping me turn my ideas into a book. That's a book ghostwriter. They don't want to call it that, but that's what this person does. They are taking ideas, they are turning them into chapters and turning them into a book. A lot of times when people think about a book ghostwriter, they think about somebody kind of going off on their own and writing a book for somebody else, and it's not really how that works. Book ghostwriting is a lot more collaborative, at least when it's done the right way. When I collaborate on book ghostwriting projects, it means that I am meeting with the author regularly, typically every single week. We will talk through the entire book, we'll figure out the structure, and then we will talk through chapter by chapter and story by story, and I will take the audio recordings from those conversations and help turn them into chapters and ultimately books. It's a very hands-on process. You know, I will send chapter drafts to the author, they will send back feedback to me, we will talk through any sticking points, but it's very hands-on. They're really involved in the process. And they are driving that car. They are really committed to it and getting the most out of it. And it's interesting because sometimes on different projects, I will have different roles as a ghostwriter, as a coach, as a collaborator. Sometimes when I work with people a lot, they will start doing more writing themselves. And I will shift more into a helper, a coach, somebody who's, you know, taking their words and refining them. So it becomes even more collaborative. A lot of times too, when I start working with somebody as a book ghostwriter, they will come in with lots and lots of material. They've done a lot of writing themselves. And now it's up to me to refine it and organize it and structure it and make it all sound right. But there's a lot more involved than just me going off and writing a book for somebody. The best ghostwriting collaborations are collaborative. They have a give and take to them. They have a deep connection to it. You know, I've worked on books that have had less interaction, and those books are always worse for it. When I'm working with an author as a book ghostwriter, I'm supplying story expertise. I'm supplying expertise in bringing a book together. They're supplying subject matter expertise. They're the expert on these topics. It's not enough for me just to go write a book about a topic and collaborate with somebody and put a name on it. They really need to be able to bring their unique story to the table, and that requires a commitment. That requires effort from them. You know, if you disconnect it completely and have a book ghostwriter write your book for you, it means that it's really not your book. And I've actually had experiences like that where I'll do a heavier lift, I'll do more research, and I will bring the story forward as much as I can. And then the person starts reviewing it and says, this doesn't sound like me, this isn't the book I wanted to write. And then we kind of have to go back to the drawing board and bring more of them into it. When I think of ghostwriting, I actually think about articles I wrote for a CEO of a food company. It was really neat. We had a long-term connection that stretched over the course of a couple years, and I would write essays, whether it goes on LinkedIn, whether it goes on a magazine or a publications website, and we would just talk through these topics little by little. And at the beginning of the process, we would meet a lot more often because I was trying to get their voice right. So it took a little bit longer to really hone in on that and get that right. And over time, it became so easy and simple. I kind of knew already what they wanted to say. I had an idea of what they wanted to say, and I would just, get a quick email or a quick phone conversation to iron it out a little bit more. What exactly are some of the key points you want to touch on? How do you want to bring it forward? And then I would really just kind of punch up the story and bring it all together. And it was just such a neat collaborative process to be able to get somebody's voice right and to be able to write articles on their behalf. I'd find the magazine on a newsstand, or I would get it delivered to my house and flip to the page and see the article laid out and think, I wrote this. It was so neat to say that I wrote this, something like a Costco connection. You're getting an article published in Costco Connection, and it's such an exciting thing as a ghostwriter to say, I wrote this, even if it's somebody else's name and face attached to it. And you can tell like the collaboration that goes into it, that it's not just this person, it's not just you, it's both bringing your best to the table and telling these important stories. My ghostwriting experiences have gone beyond articles and books. One of the most interesting things I've ghostwritten was a letter from Michael Scott, the character from The Office played by Steve Carell. My wife worked for a subscription box company that worked with The Office, and they had all these different office tchotchkes and items in each box. And in one of the boxes, they had a welcome letter from Michael in this box, and they needed help ghostwriting as Michael. So I wrote a letter as Michael Scott. It was such a fascinating process. It required me to go watch episodes of The Office and really get the voice right and get some of his phrases right. But it was interesting, and ultimately I thought it worked out really well. I used Michael Scott's words to, get this letter right. And it's interesting because there's episodes in The Office in which Michael Scott actually talks about writing his own book. It was called Somehow I Manage. And he never really got it done because he had just all these jumbled ideas in his head, but he never actually committed to working with somebody and collaborating. So it was really an important lesson, this kind of roundabout way, about book ghostwriting, that if somebody like a Michael Scott had worked with a ghostwriter, he would have been able to finish his book instead of just having it be this jumble of ideas in his head. But it was really neat to write as Michael, to, even if it was just an article, like there was research involved, there was a lot of, effort involved just to get it just right. And it was a neat process. All right, now that you've learned about the prevalence of ghostwriting, I have a free gift for you. You probably have lots of questions about book ghostwriting and publishing, and I recorded a course with one of my valued book collaborators, Nate Woodbury, to help talk through all of these steps needed to go from ideas to publication. It's called Good Book Blueprint. To take the course, visit goodbookblueprint.com. Just click on the link below. Through the course, you'll learn all about the challenges, pain points, and opportunities that could come with book ghostwriting, and the value that can come from the right partnership. Remember, good ghostwriting makes great books. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.